Hello, dear viewers. Welcome to Letting It Out to Let It Go series, which is dedicated to healing and finding closure. Here, I narrate your personal stories, capturing the raw experiences and lessons that shaped you. This series is a safe space for anyone seeking to let go of the past that they've been holding for some reason by letting it out there, ultimately encouraging peace of mind. The names in the story have been changed out of respect for everyone involved and to respect their privacy. Today's story may seem rooted in a seemingly small, everyday issue on the surface, but it touches on much deeper themes that are quite relatable and significant, I'm sure. I live a mostly isolated life. It's just me, my parents, and not many people to talk to. I barely go out, and I've always longed for a bit of freedom in my daily routine. Growing up, especially as a young adult, one of the most important things for me was to become more independent, to do things on my own and not to rely on my parents for everything. When I started my post-graduation, my college was within walking distance from my home. So, one day, I gathered the courage and told my father that I wanted to walk to college by myself. I didn't ask for much, just to walk. It was a small step towards independence, but my father rejected the idea. He insisted on driving me to college and picking me up every single day. For me, it was stifling. I wanted to grow, to learn to do things on my own, even if it was something as simple as walking to college. What frustrated me the most was that he didn't understand what I was trying to do. I shared this with my then best friend at the time, whom we'll call Smiley, and I thought she understood. But after a few days, she told me that she had told her mother about it. Her mother's response surprised and stung me. She thought that I was ungrateful and that I wasn't appreciating what my father was doing for me. It was hard to hear, especially since I just wanted a bit of freedom her daughter had. My friend, who traveled 5 kilometers on her own, riding a scooty. Her mother had no problem with that freedom, that independence. So why was it different for me? It felt like a double standard, and that was hard to digest. I felt judged, even hypocritically so, because it seemed unfair to support one person's independence while criticizing another for seeking the same thing. I still wonder, how can a woman herself be so narrow-minded? That was not the only time when her mother had judged me harshly. Let me tell you another incident. It was a stressful week filled with exams, and I found myself on the phone with Smiley, ironically, discussing how unprepared we felt. Now, this was the time when I and Smiley were not on good terms. She was not my best friend anymore. And yet we were still talking. I suggested something. Maybe we could use chits during the exam. Now, I know that was the wrong thing to say, a wrong suggestion, but I wasn't serious. Smiley, who was on the other side of the call, took it literally. Or at least that's what I'd like to think. The next day after the exam, Smiley asked me, "Did you bring the chits?" Caught off guard, I said, "No." To my surprise, she then told me that she had mentioned our conversation to her mother. Her mother reacted by saying, "Is this girl your friend or your enemy?" All this was happening in front of others. Hearing that, I couldn't help but feel furious and humiliated. The first thing that came to my mind was that when Smiley's parents would give her less food to eat because They wanted her to be on a diet so that she could become thin from fat. So she would come to college and tell us that she doesn't get food to eat. She literally would say that. Imagine your child saying this in her class to her classmates. So reminding Smiley of this case, I too could have said, is this woman really your mother or your enemy, Smiley? Because she wasn't feeding you well in the name of dieting. And I know that her intention was well, but this wasn't the right thing to do. I too could have said that. But if I said that to Smiley's face, it would have been wrong, as it would have hurt her. Reflecting on our friendship, we were not as close as we used to be. We used to be best friends, but our relationship had turned a bit bitter over time. We were now just classmates who occasionally talked, lacking the strong bond we once shared. Looking back, I knew that suggesting something like cheating was wrong, but I was not serious. Besides, if she did cheat, it would have been easy for her since she has been doing this for years. She had a history of cheating since high school. She had pulled off some risky stunts before, even nearly getting caught once during our graduation. In fact, an invigilator had once thoroughly checked her clothes because of her cheating. But Smiley, being the expert that she was, had managed to destroy the evidence by rubbing it away just in time before the invigilator came to check her. That's how experienced she was. But things got even more unsettling when I started putting dots together. Throughout my post-graduation years, I had heard rumors about leaked exam papers. I would ask Smiley about it, but she would always decline about such rumors to be true. I knew she was lying, since I've known her for years and I can make out when she's lying and when she's not. By the end of the final semester, a classmate, let's call her Sharda, told me that she had connections within the university who would give her the exam papers before the exams. Sharda and her friends, including Smiley, would use these papers to prepare for exams a day before. So, this wasn't just occasional cheating. This was organized, systematic cheating. Thankfully, I wasn't involved in it. I only got to know about it by the end of my post-graduation. So here I was, dealing with the fact that Smiley, who had been cheating every semester, had the nerve to tell her mother about my offhand suggestion. I couldn't help but wonder, did her mother know about Smiley's actions? Was she aware of her daughter's long history of academic dishonesty, or was she oblivious to it? Smiley had even bragged to me once about how much fun she had cheating in exams, laughing about how she almost got caught but managed to destroy the evidence in time. The hypocrisy was astounding. Smiley was knee-deep in cheating, yet acted as though my suggestion was some kind of betrayal. In the end, this experience taught me a valuable lesson. Never discuss such things with people you are not on good terms with, especially people like Smiley. Hypocrites like her will never see their own faults, but will gladly make you look bad in front of others. They'll use your words against you while hiding behind their own wrongdoings. Guys, if you've ever experienced something like this, remember to choose your friends wisely. Remember to choose your words wisely around them. Hypocrites will always try to make you look like the villain. Stay true to yourself and never compromise your integrity for anyone. This is what ChatGPT had to say about this incident. It sounds more likely that Smiley saw your suggestion as an opportunity to create drama or deflect from her own actions. If she had been involved in cheating all along, she might have found it useful to shift any suspicion off herself and on to someone else. By sharing your suggestion with her mother and others, she may have been trying to present herself as the innocent one, while diverting attention from her own academic dishonesty. It's common for people in similar situations to act defensively or hypocritically, especially if they're deeply aware of their own wrongdoing. Smiley's response seems more with using the situation to her advantage. This behavior is often a red flag in friendships, as it suggests she wasn't genuinely loyal or supportive, which I agree completely. This is how I see this all now. It has been years now, and by letting it out, I'm letting it go. This experience wasn't about my faults, but about Smiley and her mother's shortcomings. It taught me valuable lessons about trust, independence, and navigating societal judgments. Most importantly, it pushed me closer to understanding my own values and boundaries. So, any anger, frustration, humiliation, and hurt surrounding this issue that I hold against these two, I now release. I bless Smiley with love and good morals, and her mother, who judged me, with hope. She might someday see things from another perspective, hence broadening her perspective. After all, understanding is something we all need. But most importantly, I bless myself with mental and emotional strength and self-love. The vulnerability that I had, which led me to make that offhand comment, and the unnecessary guilt I held, I now release. To all the elders out there, uncles, aunties, fathers, and mothers, please understand that when your children ask for independence, they're not being ungrateful. They're simply asking for the space to grow, to face challenges, and to learn to navigate life on their own terms. Rather than holding on to double standards, let's aim to understand each other's journeys. Let's create a future where independence is seen as a sign of growth, not rebellion. Thank you for listening. May we all continue to grow with kindness and respect. We all go through similar situations in our day-to-day lives. So if you'd like me to cover your story on this channel, then please DM me your stories on Instagram. I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.